What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. It's been a few months since I've done a video where I talked to you about what I would do if I was writing a comic book series. And today, I want to talk to you about what I would do if I was writing the X-Men comics. I was thinking about the Red Skull and how a few years ago in Rick Remender's Uncanny Avengers series, he surgically took Professor Xavier's brain and grafted it onto his own brain so that he could have Professor Xavier's telepathy. And at first, I thought that was one of the dumbest ideas ever, but the story that they eventually used with the Red Skull, I thought was a pretty good story. There were a lot of things I didn't like about that first arc of Uncanny Avengers, but Red Skull himself using Professor Xavier's telepathy to sow hatred across the country, that was a really cool idea. And I really like the idea of the Red Skull still having Professor Xavier's telepathy. As far as I know, that hasn't changed since the events of Uncanny Avengers or Axis. But I was thinking that the Red Skull really needs to be more of an X-Men villain. And I'm not saying that we should take the Red Skull away from Captain America. Captain America already doesn't have that many really good villains, so to take his best villain and his most recognized foe and take him away from Captain America and give him to the X-Men, that would be a disservice to Captain America. But on the other hand, the X-Men don't have a lot of really good villains these days. You think of most of their good villains, they've been played out, or they've been killed, or they've been reformed, one or the other. Most of the really awesome X-Men villains aren't really good X-Men villains anymore. So I think the X-Men really need a good, long-lasting foe to fight. And I was thinking that the Red Skull would be perfect for that because he still has Professor Xavier's telepathy. The X-Men as a franchise and as a concept, pretty much going back to day one, has always been about the legacy of Professor X. So while most of the time the X-Men are fighting to maintain the legacy of Professor X, or they're fighting for his legacy, I think that it would be really cool if the Red Skull became an ongoing threat for the X-Men, that now they are fighting against the legacy of Professor X, because he's using Professor X's powers for evil, and the X-Men have to stop him. I think that would be really cool to see. And if they, for some reason, took away Professor Xavier's telepathy and tried to restored the Red Skull to how he was before, then I wouldn't want to see the X-Men fight the Red Skull. Really, the only reason that I would want to see this is if he still has Professor Xavier's telepathy. But I think that it would be really cool to see, and I really think the X-Men need a good villain, and they just don't have a whole lot of those right now, so I think this would be a good way to kind of remedy that fact a little bit. And he wouldn't have to be taken away from the Captain America comics. I really do think that you could have the Red Skull simultaneously be a villain for Captain America and a villain for the X-Men. I think that could work, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think that this is a good idea? If so, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back later in the week with another video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.